it shows like the message behind music can really propel people to do some quite crazy things, like to withdraw your whole bank account that you spent a week or 2 weeks earning that money and then you just give it all away is just nuts. Hello,
Hey Elliot, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, man. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Well, yeah, we'll just start with kind of your origin story a bit. So you tell me about where were you born and raised?
I'm from Manchester in the United Kingdom,
Okay.
from a little town just north of Manchester called Bury. Yeah, spent a lot of my young years growing up there, and everything about me is Bury born and bred.
Right on. What was it like growing up there?
It was quiet, really. There was nothing too much going on. It was one of those places where get the occasional thing, but it's a nice place to live, really. And
Hmm.
yeah, I used to busk out on the streets. And that was my real footprint in Bury was you'd catch me busking in and around Bury town centre. It's world famous for its market, which we have a lot of people come from all over the country, even outside the country, to just come to this market every like I think it's like Wednesday, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, that's kind of all there is to it really when it comes to Bury.
Wow. Okay. So busking, you started busking. How old were you when you started doing that?
I was about 14.
Okay.
I remember my parents said to me, "You should try something. You can sing. Why don't you try and go make some money out on the street, see how it goes?" I think they'd seen someone else do it and thought,
Hmm.
Elliot could do that. So they suggested it, and it was a little like intimidating at first.
Oh, I
So,
bet.
but yeah, because like I was going out at the weekend. I was still at school, so I was going out at the weekend, and at that time, all my friends would be out in town. So they'd see me, and they'd laugh and they'd make jokes.
Oh, give you a hard time about it.
Yeah, but then they all found out that I was making a little bit of money, so they were like, "Oh, actually, no, he's doing okay."
When it comes to music, like I mean, obviously, from what I've read about you and just your sound and stuff, you definitely come from the older. You listen to like the older generation of music, Elvis, and
Yeah.
those type of characters. Like, what did your? How did you get into that music? Was that your parents that were big fans, or like how do you get into music originally?
I think it was kind of natural. There was no like real turning point where I was, one minute I didn't like Elvis, the next minute I, did. My mum told me a story that she used to play Elvis to me in the womb, and she would feed me like music like this even as a young kid. And I think she just loved Elvis specifically, but the 50s, I kind of like when I got to like that age where I was starting to sing Elvis and really get really enjoy the music. That really then opened a lot of doors for me, and I could explore other artists. And I was looking at Roy Orbison and Tom Jones and
Hmm.
Billy Fury and Sam Cooke and all these other great artists from that era. And I think I kind of found it by myself. That obsession came
Hmm.
naturally, and I think when I look back, it's kind of aligned within my blood because my actual dad, my biological father, who I don't speak to really, he already sung all this stuff way before I was even born. And my
Oh,
mum sent
really?
some old tapes of him singing, and he sounds just like me. So I think it was always just, he's singing all the same songs that I like to sing as well. So
Hmm.
it just naturally, I don't know what happened somewhere, the wires just crossed, and I think that's just the way we were, I was meant to go, and he enjoyed singing that as well.
Wow, that's really fascinating. Like, at what age do you start? Are you singing like as a young kid, and your mom was like, "Oh, you're actually good. We should put you in lessons," or do you get a guitar lesson at some point? How do you start?
Uh, no, we never really had like money for lessons or anything like that. It was mostly just, I think my mum always knew I could sing. She did like acting lessons. I think that was where she put the time and the effort. Like I did express a big interest in acting at quite a young age.
Hmm.
Then when I was about probably 15 or 16, I said, I think I want to focus on music properly and just really nail it down. and that's when I picked up guitar. I had already played ukulele. I played ukulele from like the age of 7, and just sat with that for like a good, 7 or 8 years. And then
Hmm.
when I got to about 15, 16, I picked up a guitar, and that's when I started, singing and writing songs.
Wow. So when you were busking, you were using the ukulele?
Yeah, I was. And then when
Interesting.
I wanted to do like my older stuff, I transitioned to like backing tracks because it was just easier. And I think what was great was some people would say that I'd sound so close to the record that they thought I was playing the record.
Hmm.
But obviously I don't think that at all. I just think I sound like me.
Yeah,
But
sure.
but that trickery of getting, of them hearing the backing track and the music with a vocal, obviously then separates you from the people that are just playing a guitar, and they all quite sound quite similar in
Hmm.
that sound.
Yeah, were you attracting pretty big I know you at one point you were able to raise a bunch of money, right? For
Yeah,
a schoolmate that, you know, was
yeah,
in
she
those attacks in
passed
Manchester,
away
right?
in the bomb attack. That was
Yeah.
um, that was an interesting one because I don't think Berry had ever seen anything like that. I think it was one of them things where not many people go out and do a charity thing in Berry. If they do a charity thing, it's usually really put on. And I think I was like 14 or 15 at the time.
Mhm.
And I don't know what possessed me to want to do it. I just said, I have to do something. I got to do something, whatever it is. Um, and the girl specifically, I knew of her. We weren't like close friends or anything like that. Something just possessed me to just go out and raise some money. I never thought that I'd raise so much money. And then to obviously come, it started out at like 10 in the morning and went on to like 3 in the afternoon. There was all kinds of weather that day. It was a weird day. It snowed, the sun was out, it rained, it hailed. It was a weird day. And people were just withdrawing their bank accounts and just giving my mum like 400 or 500 quid a go.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, what is going on? And um I think it
And
was
what were you just performing during that time? Like, how did the fundraiser go? I'm
I
just
just
curious.
set up like my busking stuff. At this time I wasn't using backing tracks, I was just playing ukulele.
Mhm.
And I just sat there with a sign that said, all the money that I raised today is going to go towards the Liz Trust Foundation.
Mhm.
And people just came together, I guess, and that was it. And everyone was, I don't know, it was a weird world of like happiness, 'cause,
Yeah.
like, society just functioned. It was quite strange. And yeah, it really opened my eyes quite a lot to what music can actually do.
I was
And
gonna say, yeah, that sounds like it would be such an eye-opening experience. Like, wow, like how powerful music is, and
yeah.
you performing live and everything could be.
Yeah, and obviously it shows like the message behind music can really propel people to do some quite crazy things, like to withdraw your whole bank account that you spent a week or 2 weeks earning that money, and then you just give it all away is just nuts.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And then, so you said at 15 or after that is when you started to learn guitar and what you write your own songs.
Yeah, so I started writing songs. They were never really good songs. They were just like little, guitar-y songs. I think it was. I think I really fell out of love with writing and things like that, because I was trying to write pop songs and
Mhm.
sing pop songs. Um, and I have like, I'm one of those characters where I have like obsessions. So I'll obsess over one thing and then I'll obsess over the next thing. And then that thing that I was doing before just gets left behind.
Mhm.
And writing was like a slight obsession when I was like 15, and then I just kind of gave up because I didn't really enjoy writing like Ed Sheeran style pop songs, and it
Sure.
kind of, I don't know, it
You hadn't
never,
had your found your voice really yet, right? Or it sounds
yeah,
like that. Yeah, or your sound.
it didn't really like click for me, and I think it mainly really became more apparent that this is what I want to do when I started posting the Elvis and the old stuff on social media. And everyone had always kind of told me that you can't really do it. You need to do something else, do something new, do something that's like, gonna, get a younger crowd excited. And I think I kind of had to like prove people wrong slightly. And putting the music out that I like, and it's just on the nose, really. It's classic, and
Hmm.
that's what I like listening to, and I really enjoy writing the stuff that I write, and I listen to my own music, which is it's kind of weird because I don't think many people do.
No, that's great. I was gonna say, yeah, because you have that older sound, but it doesn't seem like that matters. So early on, people were probably you probably yourself were thinking like, oh, I got to write more like Ed Sheeran. I got to write in this pop realm that's already, that's what the top 40 songs are, right? It's just like
Yeah,
this pop element. And so when you were trying to do that, it wasn't working. But then you go on social media, you go on TikTok, and you start posting Elvis covers. You did an Ed Sheeran cover that did really well, but
yeah.
you start doing that, and you're seeing what people
So
are actually interacting with what you're doing and
yeah, I
validating
originally
that.
started out with my I started my TikTok in like 2019, 2020, and I was still doing the pop stuff then. And I grew it to quite a sizable audience. I think I grew it to like 1.3 million followers,
Jeez.
which was
Okay.
a fair
That's
amount of followers. And that's when people were interested, labels were interested, industry people were interested, and they were like
mhm.
trying to lean in and look at what's going on. And there was a lot of like things on the table, people offering this, people trying this, like people trying to push me down this avenue to make me the next whoever, like Ed Sheeran, James Bay,
Sure.
whatever.
Yeah.
And I just I don't know what just possessed me not to do it. I don't know. I never bit on the opportunity, never jumped on
Mm.
it. And I think it's just because I knew deep down that that's not what I want to do. I want to do
Yeah.
what I like.
That's
And
that's a lot of courage to do that, right? Especially when all these people are like, "Hey, we can make you could do this for your career. Like here's an offer that'll make you be able to play music your whole life." And you're like, well, I'm not really. I don't know if this is like fueling my fire. I want to try something else.
yeah, it was a weird one because I was still like I was posting a TikTok, I'd record like an Ed Sheeran cover, and then I'd go out in the evenings and I would do like a gig in Bury, and I'd go out and sing all Elvis, and I'd get dressed up like this. Every day I
Okay.
would do my hair like this after I filmed a TikTok, and I did that version of Elliot. And I was like, this is what people want to see, and I thought that. And it took me a little while. I actually kind of quit music. Um,
Really?
yeah, and I went traveling for a little bit. Me and my partner went traveling, and we spent 2 years in and around Southeast Asia, just kind of like running around different countries, just as a tourist.
Hmm.
I'd post a TikTok every now and again, and then we ran out of money and we ended up in Australia, and that's when we got an apartment. We were on a visa there, a working visa that allowed you to stay for like 3 years. So we
Hmm.
got an apartment, and we were looking at kind of just like settling, I guess, and just kind of just living out there because it's cool. It's a cool place to live. And she said, "Why don't you just post a video of you singing your Elvis and your oldies?" I said, "No, people aren't going to really listen to that." And she said, "Just do it, just do it, just do it." And that's the first video that you see is that My Way video where I'm
Really?
butter in the piece of toast. That was the first video in that apartment that I started doing the kitchen cleaning videos.
And
And
that blew up from
yeah,
there.
and that just
Wow.
possessed me to continue, and I was just repeating and just doing the stuff that I like doing, which was
Uh-huh.
nice. And it led very well. It took a very nice transition into the original music because that's what I like to do.
Yeah, because that's what I was gonna say. Were you once that started working, were you like, okay, I want to write, I'm back. You kind of uh got the bug to want to write your own music again, and you decided, and at that point you could say, well, obviously the Elvis stuff is working or the older stuff is working. I'm just gonna write in the style that I enjoy.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit like I hadn't really stopped writing as
Hmm.
such. I think it was mostly just the songs that I were writing, people weren't looking for, and those fit that criteria now.
Yeah.
Uh, Now I can just kind of be myself and just everyone, everyone loves it, which is nice.
Yeah, that is. And then so the first one you put out then was, I think they call it Love, right?
Yeah.
And
I was,
was that your first, or did you put that on TikTok first and then it just
yeah,
went wild as well? And what was that moment like? I mean, to not only put out your first original song, or people are used to seeing you doing these covers, and it's like, well, here's a new, this is my song, and then people actually obviously loved it.
yeah. It was. It was weird because I never thought that it would do as well as it did.
Mhm.
Um, I kind of I'm a huge snooker fan, so the day that I posted that first video and I just kind of posted it, put my phone away, didn't look at it, and I was like, this could go terribly. And I was always that was one of the main reasons why I never put out music. I was fearful that people would judge me and would not like what I did, or it would look bad, or this would, people would laugh at it. And because I'm very like self-conscious about things like that.
Mhm.
So to do that, to put that first single out and it to do so well, you spurred up that bug, and I was just that was it. Then I was on it. I was like, people like it. I'm gonna do more, and I'm not gonna stop.
Did you have that song recorded at the time, or was it just like a thing that you did on for TikTok?
It was recorded, and this was like I was going to labels with my like body of work that I had, these different style 50s, 60s songs, and everyone was kind of like turning their nose at it and being a bit like, this isn't going to do well. This is not going to get radio. This is not going to do this. It's going to do that. You should do this instead. And I kind of still just stuck to my guns and was like, no, I think this is what I'm going to do. And that first song, we overlooked it quite a lot at first. And then we listened back to the demo like 3 months after it was written. I was like, this actually has something. And then when we got it produced, that was it. We're like, yeah, that's it. That hits
Wow, and
spot.
obviously it worked. That's incredible. And then moving forward, then you sign a deal with,
Yeah.
you signed to a record label. That what was that like? That must have been huge.
It was it was a I don't know, it was a moment that I'll never forget. You know, it's most artists' dream to get to have a label and to sign, and then you kind of feel like that's the end goal as an independent artist. You're like, that's my end goal. But then when you actually do it, you're like, oh, this is the beginning.
I was going to say this is where it all starts now,
So you
right?
kind of have that realization of, oh, what am I getting myself into here? But at the same time, it's a great feeling, and to have a support of a team like that is, it's everything that an artist can dream of, and I'm in a very fortunate position, and yeah, I'm taking each day as it comes.
Love it, man. Well, I want to talk to you about daydreaming, and then obviously this new one we'll get into as well. Who knew dancing was a sin? So,
Cool.
when like, I mean, after you put out, I think they call this love. You did you have other songs like already written that were ready to go, and then Boy in Love is the next one that you put out, and then obviously Daydreaming. Like, are these songs that you had been working on for a while, or were they already in the bag? Like once you had signed the deal and everything.
It was we had Boy in Love before we'd signed.
Okay.
And we'd written that the week that I think They Called Us Love came out. And it was one of them songs that was written in like 20 minutes.
Oh
And
wow.
like, this is next. This is just next. We know what it is. We know how it sounds. It's just getting it finished. And then we got it finished. And when I was in that communication phase with labels, they were listening to it and they were like, this is great. And it was nice to finally see the labels all coming around to the style of music and enjoying it. And then at the same time, we had to wait to sign and then put the song out. So it
Got
took
it.
a little while for it to come out. But yeah, we've just been writing as much as we can in the background while we're waiting for things to happen.
Okay.
Um, yeah, Daydreaming was one of those songs where I always knew I wanted something that was like I'm a huge fan of like the 1940s and like the
Mhm.
ink spots. And I love that riff that they use at the beginning. And I wanted something with that sound, but something that I would sing because maybe their vocal style is not really my thing.
Mhm.
But I think it was a great combination of that 40s ink spot sound and Roy Orbison's vocal that you can kind of put together. And I just remember when I heard it back, I was like, wow, this is incredible. And it was just a song that spoke to me. The message was quite a gut-wrenching message.
Yeah.
And the vocals are just it's a challenge for me, and I enjoy singing things that are a challenge. And I think that's what really spoke to me about that song. Um, but yeah, we wrote "Hoon Dancing Was a Sin" pretty much around the same time that "Daydreaming" was
Okay.
written, and
Did
uh,
you do that with the same people that you worked on that song with in Manchester?
yeah, all these
Okay.
songs. we've written so far are with a duo called Soap, and then my partner also writes with me as well.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
she's kind of like the wordsmith, and I'm the melody, and we just like Bernie Taupin, Elton John, that kind of thing.
Oh, rad. Okay.
So yeah, like we will come up with ideas, and we sit down and we just kind of like hash out anything. We just have to come up with something regardless, even if it's good or bad. And I think Who Knew Dancing Was a Sin was one of those things where I think it's the only song we've ever written where we were like trying to go for a style.
Okay.
Specifically, we wanted a Northern Soul style song. Now, I don't know if you know anything about Northern Soul music, but there was a bunch of records in America at the time that were not so popular in the 60s.
Okay.
And the north of England loved them, and we made a dance style to it called Northern Soul. If you get time after this, check it out.
I'm going to. That's really interesting.
Real interesting dance. It's a dance where you would go out and you'd do it all night. And it looks kind of silly, but at the same time, it's really difficult.
Hmm.
It's a real difficult thing to master. I haven't even mastered it yet. But the music is great, and it's like up tempo soul music, if you like.
Hmm.
Uh,
Well, that's what the vibe of the song is, like very up tempo, and there's like kind of those chanty breakdown parts in the middle. I love that stuff. Like it
yeah,
just it gives you that vibe, that feel of like an old soul song.
yeah. It's just a great feeling song, and I think songs with a great beat and that you can move to are, really difficult to write. So when we landed on that, um, it was like gold. We're like, this is insane. We need to finish this song.
Mhm.
Um, and I can just remember coming up with that bass line and it all just falling together really well. And everyone just, I don't know, it's probably like the first time that the marriage of our group and the dynamic just kind of became one person, and we were like, "Ooh, this is a bit weird."
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, it felt like we were all like a transformer, and we were coming together and making a great song. It was weird, um, but yeah, it's one of them things. The music is a real difficult thing to write for me when it's upbeat, because we can only write slow. I like to write country music, so to write a song like this was kind of wild because I never thought that this would come out of me.
Wow. Well, I think the song is great. I really love what you're up to and what you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah. And are you gonna put these all out on a bigger project, or you're not sure yet?
Yeah, we're working on an EP. Um,
Awesome.
so depending on the date of this release, it might even be out. We don't know. But we have two other songs on that EP. And it's I'm super excited. They're all very different from each
Oh,
other.
they are. Okay.
So yeah, there's a lot coming on. We've got a lot to do.
Amazing, man. Well, I appreciate your time, Elliot. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I do have one more quick question. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
The one thing that I've learned, and the main thing that I've learned is to just be yourself. Just do what you need to do. Listen to you first before you listen to anyone else, because only you can really make yourself happy.
Bringing it backward.